Hello everybody and welcome back. I hope that you can all hear me. I'm sorry that the other live feed went down. I pressed the wrong button. I am just going to pull up the chat now so I can see whether you guys can hear me or not. I'm going to wait around in the hopes that I see some of you arrive in the chat. That was entirely my fault. I was incredibly rushed and I pressed the wrong button by accident. So just give me 1 second. Let me see. I'm not seeing it yet. Oh, Deb, what have you done? Just, if you're out there, just bear with me. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to my channel on my laptop. An absolutely disaster. I had it all set up and working absolutely perfectly. Just sod law that, I suppose. Right, let's see if I can find my damn video. They've changed everything on YouTube and I'm really struggling to find my way around it. And because my laptop's not working properly, as you can see, I'm absolutely struggling with everything. But they've changed everything in YouTube. They took you over to the better studio and it is not better. It could have come up with a much better name for it than that, because it is definitely not better. So let me see if I can find this live stream. Right, I think I can actually. I think I found it. Come on, shouldn't take you that long. Oh, Deb, what have you done? There we go. Oh, thank goodness for that. Let's see if there's anybody in the chat. And you have to watch an advert on your own channel. Right, let's see. Nobody's here yet. So hopefully they will have gotten their notifications and they will pop over in a second. If not, I will go to the other video and I will put a note on that, letting them know where we are, and then hopefully they will find us. 1 second. And then I'll do some clever editing and you'll never know that this happened. Right, let's just pop in here and let everybody know where we are. Right. Right, Deb, you're just going to have to start without them and just, winging a prayer time. Might be the first time you've done that, girl. Right, let's get going. Right, hopefully, if you're out there and you can see me, welcome to September's live feed. And I'm not surprised it's gone wrong, because I've been chased by gremlins this month. No matter where I have gone, there has been a gremlin involved in it somewhere. So, I must apologise. Not doing our absolute best at the moment, but trying very, very hard to do that. I'm struggling on kit, as you know, and I'm absolutely struggling with a lot of other things outside of my control. Just not having it. Well, we're not going to put the thing down. We're going to find a way, aren't we, Deb? Come on. Right. Right. I hope you can see me out there, and if not, I'm sorry, but jump in and I'm sure we'll have a good night regardless. Now, you won't be able to, I won't be able to read any comments. I won't know if anyone's in the chat or anything like that as I'm reading out what I've got to read out, because I've had to write a scripted note. We've got that much stuff to get through. So, just get my chair right, let's have a look. Now, many people are quite shocked that I'm closing the website, and it's not such a bad thing as you think. I always had an original blog, which was just for the British Bigfoot accounts. And a couple of years ago, when I was on holiday in Scotland, people said to me, we need a website. Let's get a website going, and we'll all chip in, and we'll all help you with fees, and we'll upload our research to it and all of that. And it never happened. So unfortunately, for 2 years, I've had to carry it, costs and everything myself. Never got a pound, not even a pound. So I can't do that anymore. It's not feasibly possible. And I can't just sit and wait in a wing and a prayer in the hopes that they will help me out. So the only way I know how to do things is to do them for myself. So I am going to close that website down. But there will be another there's already one up, and it's actually called Cryptid Creatures and the Unexplained. But I will put a link to it in the video when the video goes live. It's not live. About 10 minutes it uploads to YouTube. I'll put a link in the description there, and any link that I mentioned tonight will be in that description. And as I say, so the big website is closing, but you need domain fees and you have to pay for the .com and all of the above, and we don't need that. We just need a place where people can read the reports or add their own research if they want to, and you can add it just by emailing me. So just all lowercase, debbiehatswell@gmail.com, and then I can put your comments, any articles that you write, anything that you want to put on there, whether it be a podcast link that you've enjoyed or that you run yourself. Send it over and I will put it on there, and I will also share it on our other sites, and I'll pop them in the monthly email. And we'll speak about the monthly email when I speak about the members. So as I say, one website is closing, but it is a liberation. It means it frees us up. We can now look at some of the other para subjects that come in around the Bigfoot sightings, i.e. the missing people, the dogmen sightings, the strange crafts that are seen, lights, fairy folk, fairy lights, you name it. I want to have a look at it. I was speaking with a lovely lady today, Megan, and she's on the same page as me. And we want to taste all the flavours before we decide for ourselves. And I want you to have that opportunity as well. Don't just take my word for what they are. Find out for yourself what they are, because I could be completely wrong. I could be utterly and completely wrong. And if I am, I'll put my hand up and apologise for that. But what I bring you comes from a place of 100% belief. I'm not a shonky witch doctor. I'm not a cult leader, as I've been called this week. I'm just a witness with a genuine interest into what I saw and what happened to me that day. And I'm not doing this to write books. I'm not doing this to get a TV series or anything else. I am doing this to find answers for me and the hundreds of other people out there that are struggling in the same way as I am with the encounter that they had. So the only thing I can do is push forward, and that's what I'm going to do. That's my speciality. That's what I do. So as I say, due to the costing, it'll save me some money monthly. That would enable me to do more meets, and we can meet up with people. It's pretty empty at the minute. It's just got some of the old sightings in because I've not had time to update it. But Deb Forest folks helping me out. Andy Hardy's been a massive help. So over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to move all of our draft new sightings that have come in over to the new website, and you can read them there. And as I said, I really hope that you will also share some of your work there with other people. So as I say, if you have a blog post that you would like to write, or you would like to share something on there, just pop along, do that, send it to me in email, and I will get that sorted for you. So let me see, what was the next one on the agenda? Right, as I said, we're going to be branching out into other subjects. So, Dixie Cryptid, as many of you will know, wonderful Dixie Cryptid, has asked me if I would do the odd spot of guest narration on his show. And obviously I jumped at the chance because I absolutely love his channel. So what I'll be doing is I will be bringing some of the American reports and matching them to some of the British reports. So you can kind of see the correlation between the two. not only in the description of the figure, but also in the behaviour and the kind of areas that they're seen in. Now, granted, America is probably 20 times the size of England, and we do not have the vast forests. But what we do have is the road crossing creatures that are reported in America. People are out hiking that see them, wild campers, survivalists, people mountain biking, people driving the roads. So very similar situations, lots of truck drivers. And I wanted to bring you some of those reports so that you could see the description between them. So that's, as I say, that's going to be on Dixie Cryptids channel, and I will include a link to that down below. As I said, I was speaking to a young lady today called Megan, and she runs a podcast called Cryptid Addicted. And if you're into your cryptids, or if you're a skeptic, it is the podcast for you, because they do a very kind of BuzzFeed, I think, podcast where Megan looks at Megan's me, she looks at the Bigfoot side of things and dogmen and all of the creatures, and she has a gentleman with her who is, skeptic's probably not the wrong, he's probably the wrong way, but he's a realist. So he says, well, it could be this and it could be that, and at the end, they let the viewers decide for themselves what they think, and they don't just do Bigfoot and dogmen, they do all of the cryptid creatures that are out there, and I really think you'd enjoy it. They do Q&A like I do, lots of similar things, but much more put together than me, let's put it that way. And as I will get into that in a minute with the GoFundMe thing, but they actually have a microphone and, you know, and a proper camera and everything, so it's really, really good. So, and as I said, we have also got we're on iTunes now, so BBR is on iTunes. We are on Spreaker. And we are on, let me see what I brought down, new podcast over on Podbean and iTunes. They will release early for members on Patreon or Spreaker. And if you're a BBR member, you get them earlier than anybody else. If you want to hear them earlier, then just email me and I'll sign you up. I'll give you the free link and you can get the podcast earlier. And they do some podcasts that don't actually make it onto YouTube. So it might be something that you're interested in. Let me have a look. So, as I said, I want to branch out into some other, I don't know what the word is, genres is probably not the right word. So I've reached out to lots of different people, and over the next month I'm going to be recording with them because I've got a lot to learn, I've realised. So I've looked for members who are interested in the extraterrestrial side of things so that they can teach me what they know. I'm also looking at the paranormal communities. I'm looking at people, DNA engineered specialists. Anything that I have no knowledge of, I would really like to learn. Because as I've said all along, I want to see all pieces of the jigsaw. And I don't think I am. I think I'm seeing a very limited part of the jigsaw. And I need to shake myself out of that and spread my wings. And I would imagine that some people think, oh no, Deb, don't go down that route. But I will still be bringing you all of the Bigfoot and the cryptid reports. It's just a personal interest of mine. And my research tends to follow my gut. So I go where my gut sends me, and my gut is sending me in that direction. So that's what I want to have a real look at it and see what I think for myself. And I just want to know. I like knowledge, I like learning, and it sounds incredibly interesting. So it's right up my street, and so I'll be bringing some more of that. I have managed to get in contact with somebody that's prepared to hypnotise the witnesses, and I have said that I'm more than happy to go as a volunteer. I'll go first, I don't mind. And another lady's contacted me today and said that she would like to do that. We're just wondering if it is available to do over Skype, which I know sounds silly, but surely you don't have to be in the room with the person to hypnotise them. And if we could do it over Skype, we could bring you, film some of those incidents. There's definitely mine. You can film me, I don't mind at all. You can ask me questions about that day. Writing, I'll give you a good month before it happens and say, right, on this day I'm going to be getting hypnotised. If you've got any questions for me, just pop them in and you can ask me while I'm under there. I'm hoping I can have a really good look at that day, because I don't really remember much after seeing him. There was a big gap in me running home. I remember running, and then I remember kind of coming to is the wrong word, but I remember thinking, oh my Lord, I can't cross the dell, because if there's anywhere, that's where they'll be. So I've managed to run from Bewlill through Light Oaks up Lancaster Road to get to the East Lancs, and that's when I've had a conscious thought, and I don't remember that journey in between at all. And I'm hoping that by being regressed, that I will find out about that journey. And anyone who knows me personally knows I had so stuff happened when I was a young child, when I was a girl, and I want to go back and reevaluate that and see that what that was all about. So yeah, as I say, I'm happy to be with filmed. You know, I don't mind. And anybody else that's up for that, just let me know, and we'll get you on a list, and we'll get through as many people as possible. And those who want to do it privately, that's fine. We'll do it free of charge privately. And those who want to do it publicly, we'll do that as well, and we can share them with everyone. So lots of people have said to me, Debbie, why have you sold out and put a GoFundMe up? I haven't sold out. I know lots of you have wrote in me fantastic ideas, what I can do with pen drives and what I can do on my Mac. I don't have any of that. I have a crappy Chromebook. That's my computer. And Chromebook will only run Chrome OS, so it won't run anything else. Can't do Windows, can't do Office, none of that. It will not do iTunes. It will not let you go to apps. You can only download Google Apps, and they are phasing them out. So in 2020, I will have no Flash player, so I won't be able to do videos. I won't be able to have any images up. I won't be able to watch videos. So I can't see anything that you send in for me. G Plus used to be a massive advantage of having Google because it was like Facebook. And they ended that this year. There's no Stupefix anymore, so I can't edit videos. I need to be using apps like Audacity and the things that you get on a MacBook or on a desktop. And I've managed to find a decent setup that another blogger is said that they're more than happy to sell to me. He's not prepared to give it me because it costs too much, but it would be a very professional mic, a very professional camera with lighting, and a very professional desktop setup, so that I can bring you even more fabulous content, because I'm prepared to give it 200% if I can. I just don't have the money. I do not have the money to go out and kind of buy those items. So this week, with everything that's gone wrong, I've reached one of those periods in your life where you think, do I just stop and walk away? Because I don't have the money to do it. I'm taking time from the family. I could be helping them more. You know, people are... It's been an awful, awful month, let's put it that way. And then I thought, no, Deborah, you find a way. And if I can't find a way through GoFundMe, I will sell stuff from the house. I'll do whatever I need to do to keep going, because I really feel like we're on the cusp of something. I've got so many new things coming up in 2020, and I want to speak to you about them now. There are screenplays to be done. There are new podcasts. There are new conferences. Lots of people have joined up to become BBR members that have their own skill set and can bring you fantastic products. And when I mean products, I mean live feeds, discussions, guests, interviews, that kind of thing. So that's why I had the GoFundMe. And I did just ask people for £1, and I didn't realise that on GoFundMe you can only make a donation of £5. I didn't know that. It's not something I've ever done before. So I understand if you don't think I'm worth £1, that's fine. And to everybody that I've helped write books and do documentaries and get them set up, all of that don't matter. I'm not worth £1, that's fine. But I'll find a way. I will find a way to continue. And one of the ways I can continue is that I've met up with a fantastic gentleman. He is a BBR member, and his name is Alan Raw. And Alan is putting a conference on in 2020, and it was on the 29th of Feb and the 1st of March, and it will be in Hull City Centre. Now, the tickets haven't gone on sale yet, but there isn't just me. I'll be speaking on the Saturday. It's a 2-day event, so I'll be speaking on the 29th. But you've also got Gary Heseltine, who many of you will know, and he's editor of UFO Truth magazine, former RAF police and British Transport and Home Office. He'll be speaking. Obviously, you've got me. I'll be speaking on the British Bigfoot and the cryptids. Then you've got Chris Branson, and he does ovnis, science and history in the National Magazine of France. You've got Andrew Collins, one of the world's leading ancient alien lost civilization experts, and I would love to have listened to that myself, so I'll be around for that one. Antonio Perez and the GOIS team. I'm sorry, Antonio, if I've pronounced it wrong. It's GOIS. They are a paranormal team of investigators from Spain. We have Chris Evers, as many of you Brits will know, who's editor of Outer Limits magazine. They will be there, and there will be other speakers that have not been mentioned yet because Alan's just putting everything together. But last night, Alan went up to Bempton, and many of you will recognise the name Bempton, and he met up with Bob Brown and Paul Sinclair, and they went out at Bempton, and he said, we did see eyeshine. We saw eyeshine in the torchlight, and we did see some kind of strange aerial activity too. It was a very exciting night, Deborah, and tomorrow we are investigating big cat sightings in Skidby. Now, I was only able to talk to Alan for about 10 minutes before I came on to the live feed, so I've not got all of the details about what happened at Bempton, but I will bring them to you. And I've asked Alan if we can record with him this week so that he can speak to you about the conference and he can tell you about how the Bempton visit went. And as I say, he met up with most of you know Paul and Bob Brown, and he met up with them up there. So I'm quite jealous, actually. I would imagine that was a really cool night. So much stuff happens at Bempton. To me, it's more of a draw than Rendlesham, I'll be honest. Now, our second conference is being hosted and organised as a joint event by another of our BBR members, Simon Clark. So you need to get yourself signed up to BBR because you're missing out on a lot of stuff. Simon is an author and a cryptozoologist and a paranormal researcher, and he's also the writer of the Blow Your Socks Off book series. And if you don't know what they are, go and look them up on Amazon. They're absolutely fantastic. Everything you're interested in, I can tell you Simon is interested in as well. And we're going to be putting a conference on in Leyland, and I'm not being selfish. It's just that was the cheapest place that we could find for one weekend in May. Simon arranged all that. I just said, Simon, you arrange it and I'll do my part of the value. So you've got me that's going to be speaking. There will be Leah Harrison. She will be speaking, and she's talking about A Hitchhiker's Guide to 42. UFO sighting. She does UFO sightings and podcasts. Then obviously you've got Simon. We have some special secret guests that I'm not going to tell you about right at this moment, but you'll absolutely love it. If you watch YouTube, you'll be delighted. I know that Peter Moore has agreed to speak on the paranormal. Mark Farnell, a witness from Tarleton, he'll be speaking at the conference as well. And what I'm also hoping to do is, it is not just a cryptid conference. I want to bring in all of the other subjects that we spoke about. So I want people from the paranormal realm, from extraterrestrial, missing people, all of the strangeness that goes on is what we want. There'll be book signings. But what I was thinking of doing, and I wonder how you feel about it, is doing a kind of town hall meeting. You've all seen them on Finding Bigfoot, where for an hour, say, we just stand up and speak about our experience, regardless of what it was with, or where it was with, or when it happened. And I think that would enable more people to share. I think if some of us braver folk who are used to explaining about their account speak out, I think it'll be much easier for the other people to do it as well. So, and you don't have to if you don't want to. You can always pull me on one side when we're there and just say, I need to speak to you privately, and I will do my best to make sure that happens. And my hubby will be with me on the day. As most people know, he's my carer, so he'll be with me on the day, and he's fantastic. Ask him anything and he'll pull me into one corner and say, Deb, come on, you need to go and speak to this person. They need to speak to you. There'll be lots of people selling merchandise and things like that, but I'm not going to go on about that. You'll see that on the day. What I'm hoping for is a meeting of minds, and kind of, without being dramatic, a kind of meeting of subjects. So we all go to cryptid conferences, and we have UFO conferences, and we have paranormal conferences, but we don't seem to have anything that covers all of those subjects in the one room. And I know when I spoke at Probe, I had a lot in common with the people there. Hardly any of them had heard of the British Bigfoot, and I hadn't heard of any of the subjects that they were discussing, but I absolutely enjoyed it. And it made me look at things from a different perspective because I had a little bit more of the picture. So I knew what I was doing, if you get what I mean. So that's what I'm hoping I can bring to you guys in 2020. Now, one second. Well, I don't think the live feed's gone very well, but just keep going, Deborah. You never know. Someone will pick it up in a bit. lots and lots of accounts have come in this month. So, because I can see nobody's in the live feed, that's fine. But when you watch it back later, if you are a researcher in the area and you can meet this witness for me or go out to the area, please get in touch. If you're not a member, get in touch through email and I'll pop you on the members list, and then you can more than happily help us. The reason I have the members list is just to keep out trolls and anyone that's in it just for the fun of it, because you tend to find that you do get that, and I don't want anybody messing about. I just want serious minded people who are quite happy to go down there with an open mind. So a long time ago, a couple of years ago now, in Wales, in Tredegar, I think that's how it's pronounced, a gentleman named Gwyn Weeks. Now, this is one of the reasons I was glad I went back to my old blog. I didn't realise that I'd kept a multitude of sightings in there. I mean, they did make it over to the new website, but there was names in there that were in the newspaper and I hadn't put them across, so I didn't know that I had the gentleman's name. So when I went back, I found I took a screenshot of the actual newspaper report, and his name is Gwyn Weeks, and I'm sure he'd be fine with saying it because his name was in the paper. And he was 63 at the time. Now, it was back in the day of early mobile phone video, and he claimed to have taken a video, and the video is mentioned in the newspaper, but there is no way of watching it. And I've tried for years to try and find it. So I'll give you the sighting account and see if it rings any bells for you if you're from that area. Gwyn Weeks, aged 63, of Page Street, Tredegar, was embarking on one of his regular trips to walk his dogs around the lake at St James's Park when he spotted something strange lurking in the woods. Mr. Weeks said he could see something moving through the trees on the other side of the lake. Now, the retired steel worker, Mr. Weeks said, it sent a shiver up my spine. My dog started barking and you could have knocked me down with a feather. At first, I thought it might be one of those panthers you hear about, because there have been reports of them around here. But it was more like a bear. In fact, it was quite ape-like. It could have been a yeti. Mr. Weeks did manage to film the creature, says the reporter. Now, the unbelievable 10-second clip shows an animal resembling a gorilla appearing to forage for food before briefly standing on two large legs and disappearing into the trees very quickly. Now, Mr. Weeks said he was glad he captured the footage, as he feared no one would believe his amazing encounter. He said, I was out of my wits with fear. I jumped back in my car and I was out of there in a flash. Some people I've shown the film to reckon it's a wind-up, but at the end of the day, I know that it's not. Now, the policeman's name is actually mentioned. It says, Tredegar Crime and Disorder Reduction Officer Tony Davies said he was unsurprised by the reports and police would be looking into the matter. And he said, we take these kind of reports quite seriously, which is really interesting. Now, I have tried getting hold of that officer and never been able to, and I have just written emails to the police there, and I actually went to a few counties around in case it had been reported in a different county, but never really got anywhere. But we've had an update. I've had a gentleman get in touch. Actually, 3 members over the past month have mentioned Tredegar to me. And one of them is speaking about a friend who saw something. Now, it's not a Bigfoot creature that he saw. He saw a very tall, dark figure, but it was wearing clothes. But really unusual. And then there's another lead coming about the witch tree that's in the woods in that area. So, do you have any information on any of these accounts? Do you know Mr. Weeks? Do you remember reading this report in the paper back then? If you do, get in touch with me and let me know. And I can put you in touch with the members that are researching it down there at the moment. Now, this report comes from Babacoon, so way down on the south coast. And it happened on the 4th of August of this year. And he says, I think we were near White Sands Bay before going to the woods. And we just sat outside on a bench having a rest. We were following the southwest coastal path. You could hear the birds, the seagulls and a buzzard, and the regular coastal noises. Then I heard this deep screech from way off behind us in the woods. I could not identify what it was. Nothing like I'd ever heard before. Like foxes or badgers or birds, etc. I just ignored it, as I don't know what every animal sounds like. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but after some searching on Google Maps, I think it might have been Watcombe Woods. We carried on into the woods, and within 10 minutes or so, I heard a loud crack, like a quite sizable branch had just been broken. Definitely not a twig, and we both heard this. The wood was pretty quiet, just a rustle of leaves and twigs crunching as we walked. Now, we'd probably gone another 5 or 10 minutes when I heard a large object hit the ground just behind me. I didn't see it, but from the sound, it must have been a tennis ball-sized rock. By now, I was scanning the thick wood to our right, as this was where the rock and the rock had come from, where the crack and the rock had come from. My wife hadn't told me at this time, but she said after she saw a stick fly past us at about that point. I didn't see this, and I was watching the woods with a feeling that we may not be alone. We sat at another bench for a drink of water, and while we were there, something hit the branches above us, and a leaf floated down right in front of us. I think we joked about the green man throwing things at us, and we just carried on. I held my iPhone out to take some side random photographs of the woods to our right as we went along. And we carried on for about half a mile and decided to stop and take some selfies. And we like to do this for, for records of where we've been on our walks. And it was pretty quiet, and we were the only ones about. We took 3 photos from different angles with the woods behind us, just to show how dense it was. As we took the 3rd photo, we both heard 2 cracks come from where we had just been. You can hear the sounds of the iPhone takes live photos. So if you press on the image and hold, you get a few seconds of movement in the side. And the sound, I think it means on the live feature. And we carried on our walk, and we heard no more. After looking at the photos later, when we reached our next stop, I think I can see something in a couple of them. And it looks to me like a face peeping around a tree. And he said it could just be pareidolia, but he wants to know if anybody is prepared to have a look at them for him. Or is there any members in the area who can chat with the witness or visit the area for me? That would be amazing. And I said it's kind of Babacoon way. So if you're down there and you need to get in touch, just let me know, debbiehatswell@gmail.com, and I will put you in touch with them. Now, another report that's come in is somebody that says, as a child, I was going to my grand's. It's called The Beast Behind the Gate. That was the tagline on the email. I thought about this today, actually. I was about 6 years old, and I remember leaving my mum's to walk up a straight road about 5:30 at night. It was dark, and cars on the side of the road parked. They were parked, but in the distance. Just as the road bends around, I looked up, and a huge figure stood up from behind the gate. It was not standing erect, but it was hunched over a tad. And I stood and thought, oh, I'm afraid. What's that? Now, for a split second, I was going to continue, but I just halted, and the image dropped down behind the gate as if it had hunched down. I just thought, nope, and I was gone. I don't know, so I'm not going, and I ran back home. I get what she means. She just decided at that point she was done, and she went back. I was rather afraid, and it left my mind for many years, but it came back to me today, seeing this book, and I think she's talking about the book that I wrote. So I never knew what it was, but I was too young to let it affect me. And my fathers and my uncles went out to see what it was, but it had gone. It was really scary for a young child to see on a dark night just this weird image appear and then slink back down. Thankfully, I was not too... it's my writing, I can't understand it. I think what she's saying is, thankfully, I'm not the bravest one to go and investigate, and she just left it as it was there. Now, I would imagine that was incredibly scary for her, because you just wouldn't know what it was. So she's not mentioning hair or anything like that. So I don't know if it's a big Bigfoot report until I speak to her more in depth and see if we can pull anything else out of the account, or if she can remember any else. Might be a good candidate for hypnotising. It would help quite a few of them, I think, fill in some of the gaps that they have. Now, this one comes from my hometown in Sale, and I am sure the Northwest lads will be jumping on this, and I will message it over to them later, actually, and I don't think I've done that yet. And it is an 8-foot biped, slightly bent forward, in Sale, Manchester. Now, Sale's more or less Cheshire, Altrincham, Alderley Edge, that kind of way. So when I had a dog, I would get up early in the morning, and I'd walk before work, so probably around 6 a.m. And this morning was not unusual. I walked to Walton Park in Sale, and the postcode for that for your sat-nav is M33. Round the corner from my house. It was just getting light, and there was a light dusting of snow on the ground. So even though everything was silhouetted, what I saw stood out against the white background. I walked through the main entrance, and after a few seconds of looking forward, I noticed what seemed to be an 8-foot tall biped, slightly bent forward in the upper body, casually walk across the bowling green, taking big paces, but going quite steady and not in any rush. It walked diagonally away from me, going about its business, till my view obstructed it because of the trees. The trees obstructed her view. At the moment, one of the usual dog walkers entered and caught up to me. I turned around and I wanted to ask, did you see who that was? Did you see if that was a person? Who was that? What was that? But for some reason I didn't. I stayed quiet. It was about 30 feet away from me when it walked past. Now, we did the usual walk round and I gave the dogs a run, by which point it became light mostly and I saw nothing else. The dogs didn't seem worried and I never felt scared or threatened, but I probably should have done. I saw this huge thing which appeared black and walked a bit bent over with longer than human arms, which was convinced me that it wasn't a normal person. It was a really quiet, chilled area, and the area backs onto the canal, and that could be one of the routes maybe that they take. And I also suggested that we have a look into any ancient sites within that ground to see if it's phenomena that's being put out or attracted. So I know that of some, I know Tino and Peter are up in that area, and I know Natalia and Pete are up in that area. So I will get in touch with those guys after the live feed and ask them if they can go out to the area and have a look for me and take some images. Now, I'm just going to have a cup of tea. You've all heard me speak about the concert Beamish area of the northeast and the amount of accounts that come in from there. And I've had another one. And it was from, the first one, if you remember, was a young girl who saw something up a tree and it had a knife in its hand. And the girls that she was with didn't see it, and that scared her very much. And then years later, we have an account from Di Lumley, who's driving his bike down the same coast-to-coast road and has an experience next to the church. Well, this is from a geocacher who's in the same area. And if you don't know what geocaching is, it's kind of somebody hides an object and then they put clues out on the internet, like kind of origin and survey clues. So you go and find it. You take a photograph it in some cases. In other cases, you take it and you replace it with something else and then you put your own clues out. It's quite popular and it gets people out in the woods. So he says, I've only recently discovered your YouTube channel and it was really caught my attention because I'm from the Concert area. So the encounters with the wildman and ape man near Stanley and Concert, plus the Bigfoot type creatures spotted in Hamsterley Forest, are of interest to me as they're right on my doorstep. Now, start again, Deborah. I grew up very close to Beamish Woods and my parents also grew up in that area. There have always been legends and stories about creatures in these woods for as far back as I can remember. And the woods are also said to be haunted by the ghost of a grey lady. Now, there have been many sightings of black panthers and even a werewolf on one occasion to my knowledge. Now, I don't know about that account, so if you know about the werewolf account in Concert or Stanley, get in touch with me and let me know. I bet Paul Sinclair's got it. Right, so let me say. Usually the story is spread by dog walkers in the early hours of the morning who are reporting some of these strange creatures. And I would love to chat to some of those witnesses. So would I. So if you're one of them, or you know one of them, please get in touch. Or if you're one of the Northeast lads and you want to meet up with this person and get out there and have a look at the area, I'm all up for that and I can just send you the email over. So he goes on to say that the church in the second encounter that I just explained about on the coast-to-coast road that you spoke of in your video earlier this year is one that I know very well. I used to walk past it every day on the way to work, and I've had that feeling of being watched many times from that area. However, I've not seen anything. I did have one experience near Chopwell Woods, which is very strange. I used to have a hobby called geocaching, And it's kind of like a giant treasure trail with secret containers hidden by people, where you give the coordinates of the location and you have to find the treasure that's left there. Now, my friend and I decided to do a very unique one, which was designed to be done only at night for reasons that will become clear. The little containers we had to find were hidden off the River Derwent Walk and the cycle track there, which goes between Consett and Newcastle. And the containers had a reflective coating on them, so it was better to look at night and use the torch, and the tin would reflect back at you. And as he said, we would look for tins by shining the torch and waiting for the container to reflect. And as we were looking for one can in particular, which was set about 100 to 150 yards off the track, we both stopped dead in our tracks suddenly. We could both hear footsteps in the brush around us, and the footsteps were quite close to us. The noises stopped slightly after we stopped, and so we stood still. So we knew that it wasn't us making the noise, but we still passed it off as just being a deer or a fox or something like that. So we continued searching, but then it happened again, only about a minute later. So again, we stopped, and a couple of seconds later, it stopped also. We both then got this horrible feeling, and I can only describe it as dread, like something bad was going to happen. We called out to see if anyone was there, but there was no answer. It all seemed too quiet, and we were very uncomfortable staying in that area. After that, we called it a night and just stopped searching. Fear got the best of us, and we headed back to the car and just got out of there. I still have no idea what it was that was moving around us, but it just didn't really feel right at all. I had this feeling of being watched before, but this was completely different. It felt like a warning. Have you heard of many other encounters from the area? Well, yeah, quite a few actually. Or could you give me some details of researchers from the area? So if you are in the northeast and you want to meet up with this chap, just get in touch with me and I'll pop his email over to you and you can have a chat with him and see, because he can take you back right to the area. And I think a number of them are picked up a kind of corridor around the Beamish area that goes up to Kielder. So I don't know the area that way, so I would imagine that will come into play though, I would think. These coast-to-coast and cycle routes are all across the country, and you've heard me speak of them before. Old railway lines and old disused canals that have quite steep embankments. Nobody ever does any maintenance on them, so they're really, really overgrown. And there's no lights on there at night, so you're dicing with death being on there, in all honesty. And there are quite a few reports of this shadowing behaviour that he speaks of. When you stop, it stops. And when you start again, it starts again. But you don't know what it is because it's using the trees or the bushes to disguise itself or keep itself hidden. I'm not sure if I put the report out yet, but I've recorded one in the last 2 weeks where the gent actually had this shadowing feeling and looked, and there was a creature there with a stick in its hand. And he said, without realising, he followed it. He set off after it, and it seemed to disappear as if it went down a hole. And I thought, even me, that, you know, says, oh, they're all flurry and fluffy, I thought that was quite, I wouldn't have followed it. If it was shadowing you and it had a stick in you, and it probably saw you as a bit of a threat, I would imagine. Or we have to look at the actual, that it could have been waiting for somebody. We can't say that they're all wonderful, can we? I would imagine they're like people, and some people are nice, some people are not so nice. So it might be like that, I'm not sure. And he says, let me get back, where was I? Right. So he's got his headphones in and he's reluctant to walk back for some known reason. He said, but I decided to go. No, start again, Deborah. Right. Wood knocks and two thick, hairy black legs, 2019. It's because it's on the cycle route. I've mixed the two of them up. So that's how often they come in off the cycle route. This is 2 sightings in the same month that have happened on a cycle route. So he says, she said, I live a mile from the town of Stanley, which is like the report that I've just read to you. And I like to walk the cycle route as it's peaceful and it's full of wildlife. Something happened that was strange and I wanted to tell you about it. On this particular day, I walked into town using my normal route and it was a lovely sunny day. She said she's got her headphones on and she's just walking along, so she couldn't hear if anyone was behind her. And she said there's part of the line where I always feel uncomfortable and I tend to walk really fast through that section. And as I was approaching that section of line, I heard a very loud knock. And it must have been loud because she heard it above her headphones, and it made her stop in her tracks. And when she turned around, there was a man very close behind her. And he also heard this knock, she said, as he was looking around to see where the noise was coming from. I also noticed there was no birds on my left, only on the right-hand side of me. So I crouched down to scan the tree line up the embankment to my left, and it was all just wild bushes and trees. I think the guy behind me thought I was a nutter, as when he passed me, he shook his head. I took a few steps forwards and I looked again, and I saw 2 thick, black, hairy legs. And I knew they were not human legs. And I'm not going to read it all out because, as I say, it's coming out in one of the next videos. But do you know when I was moving it over, I copy and paste it and move it up and then just run it through an app, and it tidies up the spelling and the grammar. Not that they all need tidying up, but, you know, even people who write all day, sometimes I tend to write in my accent, in my northern accent. So I run it through Google and it'll tidy it up a bit for me. So there's lots of up Photoshop and all that in it, but people not for more it. So I'm not going to give you all of it, but I did think, who was the predator that day? The man behind her, and the warning was to wake her up, or something was coming and the man disturbed in it and it all stops. And I don't know. And I did say that to her. I don't know who the hero and who the thingy was on the day, but it's a very strange one, isn't it? So we definitely need someone in the northeast who's going to pick up and run with this, I think. And then now we go all the way down to the Forest of Dean and a set of whoops. Now whoops, I think, are important because there's nothing in the UK that whoops. We don't have any natural apes or anything that would make that sound. And I think most people know the sound of our natural birds and you know, and owls and things like that. A whoop is quite a distinctive noise. And he says, my kids and I are great fans of Sasquatch, and we've listened to most of the Sasquatch Chronicle podcast, and I know many of my listeners absolutely love it. And Wes is lovely, isn't he? He's a really nice guy. So much to our fascination and many discussions about what it actually is. So we'd heard one particular podcast about a sighting in the Forest of Dean, and we live very close. So we decided today to go for a walk through the forest. This was only last week. On my part, it was mostly for like a little stretch of their imaginations and to get them off their iPhones and the gadgets. And anyway, we whooped a little and did some tree knocks and things like that. Then we heard something unexplainable. My eldest son, who was 12, expression changed instantly. And he about turned and he started to walk back the way we'd come in pure fear. We heard 3 more whoops as we walked back the way we had come. And I remember reading this when she sent it in to me. And she said, I never heard anything like it. And because of the depth of the whoop, I even wondered if it was a train. It was the strangest thing. Now, I've been on YouTube this afternoon searching for similar whoops. And I did find one, which was, some people had said was a warning sound. And anyway, we were fascinated and just kind of wanted to let somebody know who may be interested. So if you're in the Forest of Dean or in the Forest of Dean area and you're interested in chatting with her and going out there to have a look, just get in touch and I'll put you both in touch. I'll send you your contact details over. Because as I say, whooping's amazing. So maybe we could leave an audio recorder out there. If you don't have one, I have a spare one. I can always pop it in the post. Just so what some people tend to do is they'll put them in, say, like an empty peanut butter jar so that it is completely rain free. And then if you, at the bottom of it, if you put some holes, not at the top because the rain will get in, but in the bottom if you put some holes, that will help with the amplification. You'll be able to hear it. Some people, there's a really cool one that's going around at the moment using a Pringle tin, because we all know a Pringle tin can be quite like an echo chamber. So you could put it in the hollow of a tree and just cut out where your phone's going, pop your phone in, and it will amplify the sound while it's recording. Not your phone, obviously, your digital recorder device. So as I say, I've got a spare one if anybody needs it, and I'll just pop it in the post and send it down. Now, a very popular place for... Oh, sorry, I'm in pain. You'll start to see a change in my face and just ignore it. A very popular site for sighting reports is Thetford Forest. And only about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, somebody got in touch with me and said, last Saturday, it's 23rd of the 7th, so the month really has got away with me, hasn't it? Yeah, 23rd of the 7th, and now we're in September. I think it's 4 weeks ago. See, that's, you know, that's how your mind works. So he was in Thetford Forest, and I think Margaret will be interested in this because she researches down there. He says, I was with a group of people in a quiet, dark and dirt track when there came a very low, nasty growl. It was a throaty growl that was far too heavy duty for any dog. We were on the dirt road known as Forest Track 23. So if you're in that area, you can pinpoint that quite easily on the map. And it's split by 2 campsites. There's a road, and then on the further north section, and then it's about half a mile from St. Helens campsite. Now, if you've got access to my map, I've actually pinned it on the map for you so you can find it. He said it sits just over the county border, so the rail track's in Suffolk and you'd be standing in Norfolk. But that was the area where it happened. And he says, not all of them, just the ones I've managed to answer. There are so many. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, that's me answering him. I don't know how I've done that. Right, I know what it is. So, I've got to the end of the site. I'm really sorry, I'm in pain now. They are not all the ones that have come in. They are all the ones that we've managed to get through. So there are hundreds of them. And I am getting, I know I say it every month, please bear with me, but I am getting much better. We're getting through that list quicker and quicker. So if you've emailed me today or yesterday, I can see the emails coming in, but we've just been so busy that none of us have been able to get onto them. And I had the live feed to do, and then I spoke to Megan this afternoon. So I'm going to close now, and then I'm going to try and catch up on some more emails tonight. But I will post all of the links, as I say. I'm just going to check to see if anybody made it into chat. No, unfortunately not. Nobody made it into chat. So I can hang up, and hopefully people will pick it up. But if not, I'm going to send all this out in an email tonight to every member of BBR. If you don't receive it, that could mean that your email that I have for you has come from eBay, and that will not work that way. You need to get in touch with me and give me a contact email. If you're a BBR member, you should have been receiving monthly update emails. And if you're not, you need to get in touch with me so I can put you on the mailing list. If you want to become a member of BBR, or if you want to come on the show, if you want to advertise your podcast on the show, if you want to interview me or you want me to interview you, if you want to be hypnotised, all of that can happen through debbiehatswell@gmail.com, and it's all lowercase, there's no capitals in it, and it's just my name. And I think I'm probably going to round up for tonight because I need to go and take my pain meds. But I really, really do promise that over the next few months, you will see a massive input from BBR, because we are determined to break through this. Oh, you can't have paranormal reports, and oh, you can't have them. We can have whatever reports we want, because it's our story and we're interested in it. So we're looking for members all across the board. You don't have to go out and you don't have to research, but you might have a knowledge base that could really help some of my witnesses. And just by either chatting to you in email or just by you chatting with me and me passing the information on, you could be doing them a really big favour. And you might have a piece of the puzzle that we don't have. So if you could help us with that, please get in touch. I know the joining fee puts people off, and because it's £3.99. But that's simply so I can get the memberships, print them out, post them down to you, do all of that. I don't make a penny on it. We don't make an absolute penny on it. I think we actually lose out about 50p, so we're always in a deficit. But that's to stop any trolls or anyone who's, interested in messing about it. If you're serious about it, £3.99 is nothing. And there's never any other charges. Everything after that is free. As I say, it's just for the admin. But I don't think people seem to understand that. I think you have to pay it every week. It's not. Everything we do at BBR is done for free. What we do have some patron sites, and they support us, and the video links and the pod feeds and things like that go out there first, and then a couple of days later they go on YouTube. So that's a personal choice. That's entirely up to you. If you want to hear them early, or you're quite prepared to wait to hear them free, that's wonderful. We don't mind at all. So that's probably about it, and I've taken enough of your time for tonight. So I will catch up on Messenger, and I will definitely catch up on email, and I will see you all next month if I don't see you before. And if there's any up and coming information on any conferences or any podcasts, I will send them out to you in email, and I'll do a quick 5-minute live video on the YouTube channel, so nobody's going to have to miss out. If you would like me to start doing live feeds on Facebook, that was something I wanted to ask. I've just remembered. If you're a Facebooker and you don't like YouTube, but you come over here anyway, I was thinking maybe one afternoon a week or one evening a week, if I went live on Facebook and did some of the sightings there, would that be of interest to you? And if it is, I'll certainly make it happen. So until next week, thank you all very much for joining me. Even though I think I might be sat here on my own, but that's not unusual. I'm used to that. Good night, everybody.